Hey everyone, welcome to episode 22 of the Sarah's podcast. In this episode, we talk to the fascinating Simon Bonwick. Simon owns the Crown in Burchetts Green in Berkshire. I first heard of Simon when Andy Hayler put me onto him, and he referred to the Crown as probably one of the best restaurants in the UK outside of London. So I had to reach out, and Simon agreed to do the podcast right away. We talked about his journey and how he grew up, and we talked about his Napoleon moment and how he lost 2 pubs, but he didn't go bankrupt. He just knuckled down and paid everyone off. He then worked as a private chef, but he also fell in love with the Crown in Burchetts Green when he was driving past. Simon is the only chef in the kitchen, which is a bit unusual, and his son is the front of house, and soon his other son will be the front of house. Many would argue that this is unsustainable, but the restaurant is thriving and now has 1 Michelin star, 3 AA Rosettes, number 13 of 50 of the best gastropubs in the UK, best pub said by the Waitrose Good Food Guide, and many, many more that I've probably forgotten to mention. On a personal note, I want to thank you all for the support and great comments. Please do tell all your friends in the hospitality industries to subscribe to the Sarah's podcast. We have some great guests coming up in the near future. Simon, I just want to thank you for your time today.
It's a pleasure.
So just to introduce you a little bit here, I think many would regard you as a little bit eccentric. I can see a little bit of that, but I also like the fact that you're a deep thinker. One thing about the restaurant is that it seems to be in a really odd location. If you drive 1 mile in and out, you've gone completely out. There's not many shops. There's almost nothing in the village. So tell us a little bit about how you came to be here and give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself.
Well, it's on ley lines. Let me say that. Before we say it's not anywhere, it's on a confluence. 3 lines. 1 straight to Stonehenge. Not saying that's what brought me here.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a spiritual, mystical, haunting thing happening. And I'm here because of magnetism.
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we didn't discuss that before, but yeah, I think so, because we're 5 miles from Marlow and we're 4 miles outside Maidenhead, so we're really nowhere baby type thing. And but we are on a confluence, 3 ley lines. Yeah. I like that a lot. So, just...
But as for the village, like even now, what time is it? It's
Monday.
It's Monday, it's 10:15, give or take, but there's nothing happening here. Like, it's very quiet. Like, and I think I said to you last time, like, how would that have worked, like, as a pub? Because it was a pub before, wasn't it? Oh,
yeah, right. It is very American Werewolf in London. Yeah. And there is a dark underbelly to Burchetts Green. Yeah. There is a hidden naughtiness.
Oh,
which
really?
I don't partake as the landlord. But yeah, it's there are people here, believe it or not, and they stay behind their walls and in their gardens, and they meet over their fences and chatter, but they don't come to the pub as regularly or as much as they would have done 10, 15 years ago. Yeah. So hence this has had a succession of landlords who haven't done really very well. And, it's understandable because, like you say, it's very, very quiet. All you can hear and see is the wind in the trees and the leaves and the willows gently being caught by that wind.
So what year did you get here?
September 2013, opened in the October.
Yes, what's that, 5 years-ish, give or take?
Six. I like 7. Seven.
Okay.
I'm always thinking ahead.
Always thinking ahead.
Well, yeah.
Well, and also now, looking back, you've now got, recently you've got 1 Michelin star, 3 AA Rosettes, 6 out of 10 of the Waitrose Good Food Guide, and top 50 gastropubs. Like, where do you...
And top 100 restaurants.
And top 100
35.
restaurants. And obviously Andy Hayler's favourite restaurant outside of London.
Yeah, we like that.
But where does everyone come from, do you think? Like, because it is a very sleepy village. Like.
Well, I've always cooked in semi-rural pubs since I ventured into pubs.
Yeah.
So I spent probably the first 16, 70 years in high-end, 4 or 5-star hotels, corporate,
Yeah.
country hotels, 3-star restaurants, 1-star restaurants, and different types of catering outlets. I really wanted to experience it all. And I worked in, look in France, what's going on there. And I just think it's really, really important for me to touch on that early beginning of the Michelin Guide. Because if it wasn't for the Michelin Guide giving us a bib gourmand each time in all of these pubs, probably people wouldn't come. Now, people probably say, well, the Michelin Guide is not the best guide, but it is the best guide. It's mysterious, it's prestigious, and every chef wants a bib gourmand or a Michelin star, whether they're telling the truth or not, really. If they're being very honest, it's what they want. Yeah, whether they say other things, that's fine. But I think secretly,
deep down,
incy-wincy deep down inside, I think everybody aspires for something. And, the Michelin Guide is it. Yeah. And we have survived here because we've become destination. Yeah. And the proof of that is, the fact of that is, our turnover's changed. It's trebled. Mm-hmm. And so there's the fact. Yeah. There's the proof.
Right. So that's what sort of keeps you going, really, isn't it? Like that drive, to be a destination place for people to want to visit, spend time here.
Well, as I said, before I came here, I was in private service for 2 years. I was in private service for 2 reasons. And I think the universe, the cosmos, consciousness gets a hold of you at some point in your life and throws you down on the floor and holds you down and say, will you listen, please? Yeah. Because you're just not listening. Mm. And so I'd had 2 Waterloos. I thought I was Napoleon. Yeah. And I lost. I had 2 Waterloos, and I owed a lot of money, and I paid everybody the money back. And I got given a job in private service. Yeah. And in private service, I learnt to be subordinate, do as I'm told, wear a hat, and be a good boy.
I can't imagine you wearing a hat.
Yeah, I had to wear a hat. And well, I used to wear a hat when I first started, and then had to wear a hat again. So it was like being reborn, I suppose, in the world of cuisine, and constantly considering likes and dislikes. You're never going to raise your own profile as a personal chef. You're there for the principle, and it was a huge learning curve for me, and I definitely developed my cooking that I already thought I knew quite a bit about. Mm.
So if we start at the beginning a little bit.
Go on.
You left school when you was 14, and you got thrown straight into, well, not thrown, but you started being a chef, and was it a hotel in Lincolnshire, was it?
What happened was we lived in Croydon. I grew up in Croydon. Before I was born, the family were bombed from Lambeth to Croydon. And when I was born, my dad and my great uncles and uncles brought me up, and they were all still pretty much in war mode. We used to eat dinners in air raid shelters and things like that, waiting for an impending bomb. And
how does that play on you, like as a kid
today? Or then?
Well, yeah.
Well, then I sucked it all in. I thought
it was normal.
It was normal. Yeah, it was all normal. And
so I
didn't think anything of it.
So when you moved out at like 14, you sort of took your dinner to go find an air raid shelter.
No, meal times are all, really, really important because of certain things in the way my life's gone. So I think that my dad used to work for Miles Dufon, which was in Shoreham Airport. So he used to drive from Croydon to Brighton every day, there and back, and I'd be looked after. And then one day he said, right, we're moving to Lincolnshire. I was going to be 14 that December. So I was 13, and I thought, wow, you mean we're going to leave all my friends and all our family and everyone? Yeah. We're going to leave Croydon? Wow, just outside Sanderstead, Woldingham and all that area, which is very, very pretty, which people don't know about. You can stand in Croydon, you can think the Whitgift Centre, you can think the Fairfield Halls. Yeah. But the Surrey Hills are really quite something. Mm. They hold a real strong magnetism. mystery. And I'm thinking, okay, so all right. I never even seen Lincolnshire, Norfolk borders.
Yeah.
Kings Lynn, up round there. And so we moved up there, and it was very disappointing immediately. It was grey, it was barren, it was bleak, and it was definitely cold.
Wow.
The wind blew off the North Sea like I don't know. I mean, I didn't know about the sea very much, apart from holidays to Devon, which I really love. And this house he purchased was in the middle of reclaimed land, and it had been built by German prisoners of war in 1919, and it was built like a brick shit house. It was really strong building.
Yeah.
And he then started pulling it apart and making it into what he wanted it to be, and I had to help him. And, you know, he then said to me, you know, right, okay, you're going to get a part-time job. You had a part-time job in Croydon. I worked on a milk float on Saturdays, and I did a paper round, which was like 200 houses.
Yeah.
And, you know, this was before there were supplements, and I remember supplements coming into play and the bag just doubling in size.
Really?
And I was tiny. I remember struggling around, you know, Wallingham with this bloody bag. Anyway, I've come back, and I've got to get back to where I was. So we in Lincolnshire, Norfolk borders, and very flat, reclaimed land. He's got a house, he's got a land in the middle of the Queen's Land, and there's nothing for miles. We're right out on the wash, and it's bloody freezing, and it's windy, and he then said, well, you've got to have a part-time job, you've got to work, you've got to realise you've got to work, you've always got to work. I said, yeah, I know, you've always got to work, all right. So he said, you know, it's getting ready for going to the Navy, you're going to be in the Navy. I thought, no, I'm not going to the Navy, I can't even swim. But every time I looked like I didn't have any direction in my young life,
that was it.
You're going in the Navy.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not going in the Navy, I can't swim. But, you know, so I used to pack my pants, thinking, you know, at bed at night, thinking, he's going to put me in the Navy, he's going to put me in the Navy, they won't have me if I can't swim.
Yeah.
So I used to console myself with that. And anyway, I got in his Cortina. He loved Ford cars, Cortinas especially, and Capris before that. And this was quite a juicy Cortina, one of these big litre jobs. And he just opened the door to where I was in the passenger side and said, go in there and ask for Mr. Rollo. And it was a hotel. And so I went in up the steps, and it was called the Bridge Hotel in Sutton Bridge. And I said, can I speak to Mr. Rollo? And this really rough, tough, but well presented, and obviously quite friendly faced Scotsman, Scottish man, said, you know, I was like, what? I said, pardon? He said, I said, sorry, I'm just not. And then so he got quite cross.
Yeah, of course.
And I was going to push me out, and I said, oh, you know, Don Bonwick sent me, I've got to you know, ask you about a job. Why didn't you say so? And it went on, and I started there on the weekend, and I'd have been 14 because it had been just after December, and there was, you know, there was a Christmas tree up and stuff, and I never went to school again. They used to ring me on a Monday morning and say, do you want to go to school, or do you come to work? And I go, yeah, I'll come to work. I say, who's working? Yeah. And he said, you, me, and a microwave. I think, right. Oh, but I'll get to garnish the trifles again. I couldn't wait to get there, you know. Yeah. And it was a great place to work. It was.
What was your old man like with you not going to school?
Well, what actually happened really was because, you know, no mum about from the beginning. Not her fault. She was never about. She wasn't about from day one for me. And I've got 5 sisters older than me. Wow. So they played a big part in bringing me up, dressing me up like a dolly. Mm-hmm. And
we've spoke about that, haven't we?
Oh, yeah, making me cry. Yeah. You know, when my dad got home, like, what's he looking like a bloody dolly for? You know, okay. And the Bridge Hotel was a great starting point for me because it was just full of things you would never see today, and I can cast my mind back to that. See the wooden shelves in the fridges covered with sticky jelly, blood from the sirloins, and, you know, those kind of things, the mud off the
milk
died,
crates. Did they? No one died, did they?
No one died, I don't believe, no. But I would work in this larder preparing, not like a larder we think of today in hotels with nice shiny stainless steel fabrication and bench fridges. This was a larder that was a big room with not a properly tiled floor, which was disappointing because today I've got a thing about floors and table legs. And the doors on the fridge were like in the wall, and it was bloody huge, thick door, sort of yellowy custard colour. And all the shelves in this big, deep fridge were wooden. And today it just wouldn't be acceptable, you know. And there was one table in the middle of the room, and then there were all the little things around on open shelves, tools, jelly moulds, things like this for you to get on with and use. And above my head was the pavement, and this is what was really romantic and really great, was that when you were working, if it was raining, you could see the grime and the grey of outside in the roof on these thick drain covers. Was glass, so it brought light in. And there were iron railings as well, steps down to it, which was quite romantic as well, which gave me fond thoughts. And when the sun came at a certain point of the day, there must have been 4 o'clock type thing, would have dappled through and sort of rejuvenated you. And, you know, I used to and really fire up your imagination about things, about being a cook. But then David Rollo, or today I sometimes cook in my slippers, and he would cook in his slippers because he had gout. He used to drink a vast quantity of wine, while he was cooking. I didn't realise it then. I wouldn't think. Only today, really, would I think about that. I didn't think about that then. Remember, I was 14, and what he did was, I just used to watch him. He never taught. He never trained.
Okay.
So I just watched, and then he would say, do this, do that. And then there'd just be times when he would disappear, and I would just pick up his motions and give his wife and the waitresses the food on the silver-served platters that they needed.
You just stepped into auto
mimic.
Yeah.
Mimic. I was a big mimic. And I got a lot to thank him for until he started saying, "You need to go to the Navy."
Oh, then he started
saying about the bloody Navy. I said, "No, I can't swim." He said, "No, you're going in the Navy. You can be a great chef in the Navy." He said, "Out of all the forces, the Navy's where it's at. You've got to be a chef in the Navy, the Royal Navy." He said, "It's the thing." I said, I'm not. I didn't say it out loud, but I thought, I'm not.
So you didn't ever join the Navy?
I was never joining I was never joining any bloody armed force. I mean, I am, you know, I do think I'm like a little Napoleon, but I'm not, you know, I'm not that way. It's not going to happen.
You haven't got a Napoleon complex, have you?
I don't know. Someone told me I was Napoleon-like, and I've had Waterloos, so I use that a lot.
So how long did you stay and work there?
Well, I worked with him, and then went full-time at college, and they didn't want me full-time at college because I couldn't behave. They said, you can finish the course part-time. So I continued to work at the Bridge Hotel full-time.
Yeah.
And do the college course part-time. And he'd worked in London. Mr. Rollo had worked in London. And he said, well, if you're not going in the Royal Navy, you know, you really should go to London. Or I knew London, I got family in London, and it made sense to...
It's a bit more exciting than going into the Navy then.
I didn't think... Can you imagine it? I mean, I don't know any... Yeah, I mean, I've met some chefs who've been in the Navy now, and then, you know, they are jolly good and fine characters too. But
yeah,
I just think, not to dwell on that too much, but it was a common theme that kept coming up. I mean, I don't think it made me wet the bed. I mean, I was a champion bedwetter sometimes, but it just used to pack my pants. Every time anyone said to me, you know, do you want to go in there? You're going in the Navy? And I just, what was this thing with people keep saying going in the Navy? I'm never going in the Navy.
People clearly want you off land, don't they?
Do I? You might be right.
For everyone to keep saying to you, go in the Navy, something's wrong there, mate.
I don't. Yeah, you know, you're right. So, anyway, I didn't get that.
So what sort of, where did you go to in London then? Where was it when you went to?
Oh, I've been everywhere, man, and I did. I had a good look at lots of places, and then I worked around. I think I said before, I don't think you should really go on about. There's this question that chefs say as soon as you meet them, and I love chefs, and I love the industry, and I love all the people in it. Of course I do. But as soon as you meet a chef, whatever his age, you go, so where have you worked then? And you think, oh, and he says, where are you from then? I think, well, from my mummy's tummy. I do. I think that. I think, oh.
Do you think it's a bit like when you watch American films and it's like when people talk about what college they went to? Is it a bit like that?
Could be. Yeah. I mean,
everyone just sort of thrown out their credentials a little bit. Just
Stanford.
Yeah. I suppose it is
Harvard.
I suppose you know you're not where you work. It's good to work in these places, isn't it? But obviously,
yeah. I mean, definitely. But I always felt after working at the Bridge Hotel. College, I had a roll of knives or a box of knives, and I had a little brown book called the Repertoire de la Cuisine, 13th edition. I've got 14, 15, 16th edition. And when you went for a job as a commis chef, you arrived with those things. You usually had a pair of chef kegs.
Yeah.
And then you go off to the laundry room, or some nice lady would rock up and give you 5 jackets all pressed and starched and lovely. And you go off and you'd put them in a locker somewhere. Or that's Mr. Redfern, the gamekeeper, but he's a poacher too. What a contradiction! There he is, looking through the window. He's going to get me. Don't worry about him. We'll just ignore him. We won't ignore him because he won't be ignored. But I love him. He's a regular. Every Friday night, Stelios sits on table 4 up there.
Yeah.
And he's come every day since I've been here.
What's he shouting through the window? If you want any game?
No, he wants to take my guttering off.
Oh, right.
Because I cleared the leaves and muck out of it the other day, and I made a hole in it, and it's dribbling down the window on table 1.
And just to confirm,
making filthy marks.
And just to confirm for listeners, take your guttering off is not a euphemism.
Ooh, no. No. Where were we? All right. So I was never anyone's pupil. I've never felt like anybody's pupil. You arrived in a traditional kitchen with all its hierarchy and all its smells and all its steam and everything else, and you had your little roll of knives, you had your knife box, and you had your book. And I had my little roll of knives, and you go in there with all the steams, all the smells, and the emotion and the energy. And of course, you'd be nervous, and you'd be a fool not to be nervous in those days. I think you'd be a fool not to be nervous any time doing anything, really.
Yeah.
Give the best of you. And you then went to the chef de partie, and he might be on the veg section, or the larder, or the pastry, or the sauce, or the fish. Or you might be doing, if it was a big kitchen, there'd be room service and other stuff. But you'd be sent to a chef de partie who generally looked after a corner. Mm-hmm. And there'd be a menu, and the menu would be written in like a kind of code. So fillets of sole, princess on the fish section. That would be a cream sauce with asparagus, spears of asparagus. And you'd be expected to know your interpretation of that, or the chef de partie would run through his interpretation of the chef's idea.
Yeah.
But really, I seem to remember having quite a bit of free rein. You know, if you made the dish with the guidance of the repertoire, the chef pretty much and the chef de partie left you alone. Mm-hmm. And I was always fortunate that they always seemed to like my interpretations of the repertoire.
Yeah.
And if they didn't, you bloody well knew about it. You know, they were on you like a ton of bricks. And I mean, if you weren't pulling your weight, or if you'd always have 2 days off a week if you were lucky. If you left and then you came back and a sous chef was on your section, it means when you went away on your days off, you didn't perhaps leave it the way you should have. i.e. loaded with mise en place.
Yeah.
And that would be a difficult day to recover from that. But you'd have to put that aside, grit your teeth. I'm not saying chew the rug, but you'd have to get ready, buck up, and do what you got to do to progress, to be a chef de partie. And I got to chef de partie. I worked my way all the way up through the ranks to junior sous chef, to sous chef, to senior sous chef. And then I found myself as a head chef and an executive of 3 or 4 restaurants. And that was probably when I had a little burnout.
Yeah.
A little bit tired.
How old were you roughly, would you say?
28.
28.
Yeah.
And what did you do to sort of like recharge them batteries afterwards?
I delivered India, our little girl, our 4th child at the time, in the April. And I ended up delivering her because no one rocked up. We always had home births. Deborah and I have been together 30 years. We met very young.
Congrats.
And we just love each other. I know she does. And,
I know she does.
I just love her. And the thing is when we always have home births, nice and natural and all the rest of it, and that's good for us. And all the phone numbers that were in place on a particular day when India was born, it was my day off. And I'd worked like a 10,000-hour week, and I was anaesthetised with work.
Yeah.
And I was just walking around the house aimlessly, probably hoovering or dusting or something, focusing on lists, ordering, problems. And Deborah was loading the washing machine. She said, "Oh, the baby's coming." So everything was in place and nobody came. And so Deborah and I had the baby together. And then just as India was born, I wrapped her up in a blanket and towels, and everyone arrived, stampeding in the house through the door like stormtroopers. Everyone arrived all at once, ambulance, everyone. And I just remember sitting down and thinking, where's that bottle of Armagnac?
Yeah.
And I sort of drank the entire bottle and then just sat there. And then I remember going to work for a few months and thinking, I just need a break. And so I had a break. And that was when I started working in pubs, because a really dear friend of mine who's up there in the sky now said to me, "Oh, come on, Simon, just help me out for a couple of days. These chefs keep letting me down. Will you just come and help me out? See if you like it." And I always associated pubs with sandwiches and pie. And I thought, I don't want to help you out. I don't want to do it.
And scampi.
But this was a pretty alluring pub. It was called the Bull and Butcher, and it was out in a place called Turville, not in Aylesbury, in near Skirmit, near High Wycombe, Turville. And it's where they filmed Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you remember the opening scene to Chitty Chitty Bang Bang with Truly Scrumptious and all them, and the Rolling Hills and all that, Toot Sweet and all that stuff. This pub sits at the bottom of the windmill that's in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and it's not the American Werewolf in London pub, but it's like that. It's very atmospheric. Yeah. Well, it was when I went to see it in '99, when India was born. And I went in there for a day just to help out, and there was all kinds of madness going on, and I could relate to it. I thought, okay,
you like that?
It's relaxed, and I started cleaning, and I was allowed to clean, so I thought I'll keep cleaning, and then I got a bit precious about the things I cleaned, and he said, "You like it here now, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, I love it." And he said, "Oh, you're cooking quite a few things that are costing a lot of money. Do you think you could start thinking about doing a pie and some sandwiches, like a bit more traditional pub stuff?" I remember looking at him right in the eye and thinking, "Pie? Okay. He said, "Yeah, sandwiches." I said, No, not sandwiches. But he said, "Okay, I've got this idea about pastrami," because Nick Abingdon Abbott worked in New York. And this is 99, and he showed me how to brine and dry brine and smoke pastrami. And we used to have that on the lunch menu, pastrami on rye. And so we did that as a sandwich, and we did a pie.
Yeah.
And today, I don't do the pastrami because it doesn't have a place here, but I do a lunchtime pie. I do a pie because a pub should offer a pie, in my opinion. But it has to be a very good pie. And my pie is, if I say it myself, so forgive my deliverance, I don't mean to be a big head, my pie is really very, very nice. It's very nice.
What we're talking, like steak kidney or?
Just, it's a venison pie, so it's a haunch.
Yeah.
It's been cooked for yonks.
Nice.
Just bumbled away very, very slowly with all the right things the venison needs, nothing too sweet. I got a problem with fruit and meat. I like But the success is the pastry.
Yeah.
The pastry has to be cooked. And this, of course, everyone knows the pastry has to be cooked. But getting the pastry cooked time and time again is the key. And I use a hot water paste from the Constant Spry cookery book, where I boil water and lard, and it's just, you work with it hot, and it's just serious pastry. It's short, it's crumbly, it's dry, importantly. To hold that.
Because that hasn't gone all gloopy at the bottom where the liquid touches.
No way. This stays ready.
Really?
Yeah. This stays ready like a gun, loaded. It's brilliant. Yeah.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah. Have I gone off subject?
No.
Okay.
So. Look, again, we're not following. Like I said, there's no linear curve.
Oh, thank you for your interest in the Crown. So I can go on about the Crown forever. We could be here all day.
How long were you with your mate at the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang pub?
I stayed with him for 5 years, and he said, I'm going to Devon.
Yeah.
And he went to Slapton Sands. And, yeah, that's where he left this universe, where he left this world. So... yeah, we the family and I we miss Nick, and that was another part of life, learning life, and in the industry in hospitality. You know, so many landlords of this place, the Crown, departed this life because of the Crown.
In what way? How do you mean?
Well, I think if it's not successful financially,
I
think people can only see one way out.
So, just to be clear here, we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a bit of a
sort
way.
of Voldemort type thing.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
I can't. I really want to say it, but I think people get what we're on about.
Yeah.
So, well, hopefully you don't feel like that.
Definitely not.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it's fair to say that in the last couple of weeks since meeting me, you've perked up a little bit.
No, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
It is a pleasure. It is a pleasure.
Does that mean I get thrown out afterwards? So how long was it before you then embarked? Did you take over the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang pub, or did you start your own thing after that?
No, I didn't. We had a look at Devon with Nick, and we came home early because in Devon there are no pavements. And, there are no supermarkets. Yeah. They're a long, long way away from each other. And, it's not safe, but... And the locals come out in the winter. No, I don't mean that to all Devonians. I was only joking. Only mucking about. Didn't mean it.
I know a couple that would be pretty upset about that. But
yeah, I didn't mean it. I love Devon. If the truth known, we've got a secret place in Devon where we go to, and it's very magical, very mystical.
Well, they'll be knocking on your door now, mate.
Right. I can handle them. I've got a baseball bat. And I've got an axe now.
So how long was it then after then you came back and...
Well, what happened when I came back was there was like the big man, the universe, provided again for us Bonwicks. And I went to work at a refurbished, very old pub called the Black Boys Inn. And I worked there for a couple for 5 years. And like the Bull and Butcher, we achieved the wonderful Bib Gourmand. And we achieved it at the Bull and Butcher, and we achieved it at the Black Boys Inn. Mm-hmm. And the Bib Gourmand was a special award in the mysterious, prestigious Michelin guide that's been in my life for as long as I can remember. My dad kept in his glove box, other than a gun, a revolver, a Michelin guide. So it was something to always flick through.
Yeah.
And all its little symbols and all its little things were fascinating to me as a little child for some reason. A bit like a Gideon's Bible. Not that I've ever read a Gideon's Bible, but you go in a hotel room, it's usually one in the drawer.
Yeah.
The Michelin guide was in the glove box. Anyway, that guide is just so important. I want to touch on that because, as I said before, so many people seem to knock it, and I don't think they should because, as I said, for me, it's why we're still here today. And the Bib Gourmand at the Black Boys Inn helped.
What's the biggest criticism for people?
What about?
About the Michelin Guide, you said like some people knock it. What would you say they knock?
Well, I think that it's such a mysterious review. It's the finest review of its type because it's so mysterious. You don't know what's going on. You don't know why they make the decisions they've made, other than they're rewarding merit for a year gone by. Yeah, and hopefully that future year you'll find what they found the previous year. Yeah, and you've got to. We're 100. There's 5,000 entries, there are 500 pubs, and we're one of 117 or 115 pub category. Yeah. And we're a rare group. We're in a rare breed. And it's a terrifying symbol of excellence, the Michelin star. And we have one here. The Bib Gourmand helped us at the Bull and Butcher. The Bib Gourmand helped us at the Black Boys Inn. The Bib Gourmand helped me when I first opened the Crown at Burchetts Green. Achieving a Michelin star sent us into the stratosphere.
And for those of us...
It's massive. It trebled the business. And that's how important it was to me. And I wasn't looking for it.
That's pretty significant.
Yeah,
and
I think so, Stelios.
And for those of us that don't know, is the Bib Gourmand like the entry level to get into? Is it like the first thing that you get to get into the Michelin Guide?
I read that it's a food award where the inspectors have favourites. It's the inspectors' favourites.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure, looking around, the Royal Oak at Paley Street had a Bib Gourmand, Nick Parkinson, before he had a star. I'm pretty sure there are other places that have moved up to a star. So it possibly is a basis, but as I said, I'm not a leading authority on it. All I know is that there are two bloggers. There's Elizabeth on food, she doesn't do it anymore. There's Andy Hayler, and there's the Michelin Guide. Not necessarily in that order, but the Michelin Guide for me as a chef and as a business, I'm glad it's there. And it's always been there in my life, in the glove box. And
that's pretty.
That was a big pump, but yeah.
So tell us.
Why can I say that? Yeah, because of those pubs and their success.
Exactly.
So they were successful, and then I thought, like Napoleon, that I could do some pubs.
So you thought,
I got a bit big-headed, and I thought,
you thought you had the Midas touch.
Yeah, I did, and I thought I knew a lot, and I probably knew a little modicum about cooking, and so I thought that would go hand in hand with me running a pub. Yeah. But, I was in the cellar looking at the barrels on my first pub thinking, hang on a minute, where does the gas go? I've blagged my way in here. I was naive and naughty. That was the first one. And then I got a second one, and I'd learnt from the first one, and then I got a whole load of rubbish that hit me with the next one. And, we lost a lot of money.
How long was that for, do you think, those two?
A year each.
Oh, okay.
So 2 years learning curve there, steep learning curve.
How many kids did you have at this point?
Children. There's 5 year gap between Billy and the most. So, it's hard for me to say 7 or 8. Well, I've got 9 children.
Yeah, exactly. Just give someone some people some context. Here. You got 9 kids.
5 or 6.
So you went bankrupt or whatever the official.
No, I didn't go bankrupt.
Oh, you didn't go bankrupt. So whatever the official term is, you had some difficulties with the 2 pubs. You ended up sort of closing and moving on. You paid people off. Yeah. But what was that like on yourself, like you and your wife? Like what was it like on you two to go through that?
Well, first and foremost, bankruptcy wasn't an option. Okay. There was no way.
Because you wanted to pay people off.
Yeah. Okay. I had a strong sense of responsibility to pay everybody back rather than duck or dive. Yeah. And I mean, some serious proverbial, kick in the faces. You've got to get up. You don't roll over. Yeah. And I'm that guy, I don't roll over, I don't lie down, I'm coming straight back. These were big, big knocks. And I got offered, I had my family to feed, and I really had to dig deep. And, maybe because of the way I was brought up, I'm a determined little sod. I'm a cow son. I'm a determined little bugger, and I will not roll over ever. I will not lie down. You're not gonna get. I will not. You're not gonna get past me.
It's weird because you don't strike people
You're
as
gonna come back.
Yeah, you don't strike people as this ambitious person.
No,
but it's ambition in different ways, isn't it?
It's a very, very different thing still. So I'm talking about here now. I'm talking about a kind of magic which sort of like people think I'm a bit nutty, but when I'm cooking, so I'm just going off a topic.
That's all right.
When I'm cooking, I think I really hear Miles Davis resonate with me when he said to one of his backing players in chastising way, he said, "I said, play it, don't play it." And I thought, yeah, cook it, don't cook it.
Mm.
So when I'm cooking, I'm not cooking.
Yeah.
I'm outside of me. I'm watching me, movement and gesture. I'm cooking, but I'm not cooking.
Mm.
So when I was in all these problems, I was doing it, but I wasn't in it.
Yeah.
I think if I thought about things, I'd never do things. I'd never get things done.
Yeah.
But I don't think about things. If it feels right, I have a go. I always have a go. There's not much, it's a really exciting way to live.
Mm. Yeah,
Rev that engine up and go.
Yeah, just
so. I was in a bit of a quandary. Deborah said to me, Deborah's my wife.
Yeah.
She said, okay, so you're not gonna have any more pubs now. You realise you don't know anything about pubs and doing pubs. You realise that you've put us in a rather parlous situation, and we're not doing any more pubs. So what are you going to do then? We go back to being a chef, a head chef or something like that. Oh no, being told what to do, GPs, all these things that I don't like, but actually are really important.
You don't like order?
I think I do now.
You see where the need for it is.
Yeah. It can't always be about foie gras and truffles. It's just not. And you've got to be aware if you're going to succeed. And it's great to be carried away.
Yeah.
On the wave of creativity, but you got to curb it if you want to do it. And I want to do it because I love it, and so I've got to curb it.
Yeah.
So obviously I had people to pay, and I needed a job. And just out of the blue, somebody said to me, "Will you come and cook for this guy up in London? Can't really tell you much about it, but he just needs a chef for a few days. Do you think you feel like it?" I was like, "Oh yeah, okay. How much does it pay? And will they, yeah, everything sounded right." So I went along and I did it, and I stayed for 2 years, and it was great, fantastic experience.
That was like cooking for someone in private residence.
Yeah, that's right.
What's that like?
Well, you're not going to raise your personal profile.
Yeah.
You're not going to cook what you like.
No, because you're cooking for someone else. Yeah.
And you're definitely going to consider all their likes and dislikes and their dietary requirements. Okay. You're not going to throw your little
I suppose
toys out of the pram because you can't do it. And the other big thing is you're going to spend all day cooking some days, and you're going to be doing your really best efforts, something really delicious, something full of aroma, taste and texture, and you think they're really going to love it, and they tell you, "I'm going out for dinner."
Oh.
Or, "I don't feel like it, I've got a bit of a cold, I just want beans on toast."
Yeah.
Or, "Can you knock me up some scrambled eggs?" "Yeah, but I've done you carrière, done you à la Bollinger." Nah.
And did you have to do that whole thing, like, did you serve it for them and, like, bow and all that crap?
Yeah. I mean, there was butlers and maids and
for me,
all those things.
It's a whole different world, isn't it?
Yeah, it was another world, and I'm glad I saw it.
But also, I suppose it gave you some...
I would go back to it.
But it gave you some discipline.
Definitely.
Yeah, because, again, like, you seem like, you're probably completely undisciplined. You were probably more chaotic than orderly. And if all of a sudden you've got that, where you've spent hours and hours doing something, and, yeah, it was probably enjoyable, but they didn't come down and say, Simon, that food was amazing.
Definitely not.
Yeah, it's just you're just there to do food. That's it. Like,
Yeah, hero.
no, exactly. So then you did that for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I got held down, like I told you, by the universe, the big man. He just gets hold you by the neck one day and he just says...
So not the guy that owned the house, then?
He definitely had some things to say at some points in my couple of years with him. And, I had to bite my tongue and be quiet. So that was good for me. Yeah. That's allowed me to grow in the crown of Burchetts Green.
Do you wish in some ways that happened sooner in your life, if you was to contemplate... Obviously, you can't change things. Things go the way they go. But do you wish sometimes, actually, if that had happened sooner,
I definitely believe I'm on a journey in my working life, and it's never, ever going to end. I believe if I can get to 90-odd and still be on the stove, that'd be lovely.
So you want to be like Michel Girard, then?
Well, he's... yeah.
But I don't know if he's 90 yet, but he's pretty old, isn't he? Like,
Yeah, but I've got a better jawline than I know. I don't be like him.
I just meant work.
No, I don't be mucking about. I don't. No. I mean, I just think, well, I could get on the old stove up there in the sky. That'll be, it'll be nice to have. As above as below, Stelios, as above as below. I think, I'm cooking here on earth as I will in heaven. I'm cooking, and I love cooking, and I'm cooking here on earth as I will in heaven. That's what I'm doing.
So after you did work for this private client, obviously it's very private and all that.
Oh, yeah.
How long was it then before you saw Burchetts Green?
Well, I used to come past this place. And as I used to go by, the bar window on your right over there, it would literally wink at me. The whole window would do a complete wink, like a blind.
I think literally is the wrong word.
That's my reality. Yeah, it's very real to me. It used to do a full wink, like a blind being, a blind being pulled down really far. And I think, what you want?
Yeah.
And then you say, what I want.
And was it closed at this point?
Yeah, it was closed. Some of it was slightly boarded up and stuff. But it stirred a voice in my... I've always, I think voices are good. It's your conscience, it's your heart, and it's whatever. And the voice... The Crown said to me as I went by, you know what I want. And I thought, yeah, I know what you want.
So then how do you go back...
Yeah.
So how do you go about telling your wife, who said to you categorically, pubs aren't your thing, mate?
Well, now this is... I kept it quiet for quite a while as I made all the necessary inquiries and administrations and paperwork and, all the little things, all the boxes that needed to be ticked. And then I didn't quite have enough money, so she noticed when I got rid of her motor that something was amiss.
Yeah.
So, we've got a new pub, and it's called the Crown at Burchetts Green.
Oh,
and
come on.
After that...
Did she not smash your face in?
Well, she's so beautiful. She's so lovely.
You sound like you just sound like you're sucking up a little bit here, though.
Oh, no, she just said, oh, shit. Oh, you're going to have to do it on your own. You can't afford to employ anyone.
Yeah.
I said, well, it's small enough. I'll do it on my own. It'll be great. You see it, it'll be great. I said, okay. Okay. And once I'd got, her blessing after I'd arrogantly
done it,
gone on and done it.
Well, it wasn't.
But I was drawn to it. It was the magnetic field that I was going past was sucking me in. It was drawing me in, and I just had to be a part of the Crown. And the Crown wanted part of me. Yeah. And it's wanted part of me. Mm. And it now has it. The family's a different thing. It's tight as.
Joking aside, do you feel...
I'm not joking.
No, I'm me, because I've been making a few jokes. But, I think, do you feel that... do you feel different between having this place and the other two? That, from the beginning, did it feel different? Were you in a different place, or...?
Yeah, I clearly wasn't ready for the other
two.
I'd been impatient, and I'd forced the will of the universe. Yeah. I'd forced the universe's hand. Yeah. And I'd forced the hand of nature to go a different way, and it wasn't right. And I knew no one was going to tell me because I'm such, so naughty. And yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. This place was okay. We're now going to teach you properly, said the word.
Yeah, well, and also you needed those failures as such in order to be ready.
Exactly that.
Because
you could argue that's how I learned.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think
on the job.
I know. Yeah, I think I know what that feels like. Well, I'm sitting here with microphones in front of me. So yeah, I'm learning on the job. So, so what were the early years like? Your wife sort of forgives you. Obviously, she supports you 100%. She jumps on board. Tell us what the early years were like here.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I would get in as early as possible to make the bread.
Yeah.
Right down to making the chocolates, to go with the coffee. I'd do all that and clean the pub, dust the pub, get it to where I wanted it to be. And that, I really love a nice, clean, tidy pub. Traditional pubs, that I wasn't allowed in when you were 13, 14. You sat outside. You didn't go in pubs years ago. The windows were that kind of steamy bathroom type thing with words written in them. And you waited for your uncles and aunties to take you home outside the pub, and they were spotless. Brass, you peered in, you saw the brass was clean, and you saw the taps where the beer was being pulled, and the lovely brass things with holes in the drip trays, I now know they're called, look gorgeous against the dark wood, and the smell of tobacco, and the conversation, and the sneaky, creepy conversation in the corners and the nooks and crannies of pubs, where badness and skullduggery's given birth to. And that draw, so when I used to clean the pub. I loved doing that, and then I would do the lines, do the cellar. I
was just going to clarify for
put people. The wine away.
I was just going to clarify for people, because when you say you did the lines, it helped you do the washing faster. But so before you did more hours, so the early years you did more hours. You did it all yourself
like a
mostly.
Dog.
Yeah,
I wore myself to thread. Yeah.
So you were nearly quite close to sort of like pushing it again.
Yeah, very very unwell.
Did you have staff early on?
Friends and family I bullied into helping me, persuasion, and. George used to come back from university and just hold the weekend together for me because we'd got a bib gourmand by then, so we had some interest. But in the beginning, I would stand here on a Saturday night with no one here. Some Saturday nights, and I would pop corks, I would pour water, or I would go into the kitchen and boil water and create an imaginary service.
What was that feeling like, knowing that you're putting your heart and soul in something and no one's walking in?
It felt great because I created an imaginary service. In here, I became, I pretended. I said, "Let's pretend in a big doll's house."
But if you didn't have that imaginary, complex, it would have been pretty dull otherwise, wouldn't it?
I imagine you'd be at the end of your tether.
Yeah.
Especially cash flow wise.
Yeah.
But I had 50p in the till.
Yeah.
And to me, that was 500 quid. 50p's always look like 500 to me. That's how numbers look to me. They always look bigger than what they are.
Yeah.
And so people used to come and help me out of probably pity, worry, whatever. And basically I worked myself to a thread. And then my eldest son, Dean, who was doing really rather well with his own career, came over for the family and sorted the family business out.
What was he doing at the time?
Well, he was over at the Waterside Inn in Bray.
Oh, okay.
They had invested in him. They'd sent him to Eugénie Le Bain with Michel Guérard. He'd worked for William Drabble and Aubergine and Tom Kerridge at the Hand and Flowers. Mm-hmm. And so had his younger brother George. He'd done all those places too. And he came, left his job over there and his career and took on the crown for the family because we couldn't go back to that space. We weren't going back to that space where I'd put mum in before.
Yeah.
He wasn't gonna let that happen. So we did that. He said, we're going to take some tables out and actually we're going to cook the food you like to cook.
So how many covers did you go from to?
There was about, believe it or not, there was about 36 in here.
Mm.
And on a Saturday night we were doing that. But in the week it wasn't that busy. It was lunchtimes were dead. And they still can be. Let's not big sunning up, let's always be honest. Lunch is difficult because we're 3 miles from Maidenhead and 5 miles outside Marlow. And with all that competition, why would we always be packed, you know? But dinner's always good. Dinner's brilliant here. We're always packed. And what was I saying? So, he took some tables out and then he said to me, you know, Dad, if you're going to do this, you should be cooking the kind of food you really want to cook. And I said, well, I was. He said, yeah, but you don't enjoy dropping chips in the fryer for the steak and, you know, there's little things you're doing that you're compromising on. I said, well, when you've been in private service, you realise you've got to... He said, no. You're not happy. You've got to be 100% happy. And I said, okay, I'll see what that feels like. So I did, and I had 6 starters, 6 mains, 6 desserts. And we started from there again. All my thoughts, all my ideas of food. And that's turned into a precise, stylised, luxurious, traditional plate of food with a very heavy cloud of domesticity over it. Yeah. So it's very domestic, so it's recognisable. Yeah. Pub in a pub way. Yeah. So although it's not highfalutin, but it's recognisable, but it's sophisticated in spots, in areas, in details. And that's what Dean said I should have done from the beginning. But, you know, a pub business model is a pub business model, and you start with what you're advised with and what you've worked with. But the Crown is like no other business model. As you said, it's a small pie with a large wedge.
Yeah, exactly. That's the concept of like a family business as well, isn't it? Like, yes, you know, exactly, and that. I think you guys...
People look at me and think, how do you survive here? Yeah. Well, yeah, no, we don't make any money, actually. I'm waiting for the day when there ain't wheels on cars and they're kind of floating by. You know, you float by on whatever, and you say to your mum, you know, you're going by with your wife and children, or your children are driving you on the float thing, and you say, God, do you remember that meal we had in there 30 years ago with that bloke? Do you remember it? It's lovely. And that's what we're trying to do here. That's what I'm trying to do.
You're playing the long game.
Just create a memory, really, of dining, eating, and service.
And so... Your son's been with you, what? So he came 2 years after he'd started or something, was it?
18 months.
Oh, 18 months.
18 months.
And now he's well embedded in the business. And
he's well embedded in the business, but he's now departing.
Now he's departing? Yeah. Okay. And where is he off to?
He's going back to the waterside to re-pick up where he left off, but he's going back in a senior position.
So who's going to take his slot?
His brother, George, his younger brother, who's been with him now for a year.
Oh, okay.
And George has been all over the world. He's worked with William Drabble, Hand and Flowers, bars and restaurants in Australia, and he's got a degree in ancient history.
Oh, okay.
So he's brighter than me, but he's more relaxed than Dean, and he'll bring all the same standards together each day, but he'll also bring his personality and style that I won't fight. I won't fight that. No. I'll give him that complete... Because you know, coming from a family business yourself, you know if you stifle people, they ain't going to hang around, are they?
No, exactly. So what sort of challenges do you, now that you mention that bit then, do you see challenges in that? Like, you know, how do you deal with something that maybe you need to be tactful? And you've got to remember, well, this is, you know.
Yeah, we're not tactful as a family. We're solid. We're really tight. And if something's seen and somebody else hasn't seen it, then I've got to go and do it. Yeah. I don't pick up and say, hang on a moment, you haven't polished that brass foot on there. I'll go and do it. And then if he sees me doing it, he's going to be a little bit upset. Yeah. He's thinking his dear old dad's on the floor scuffing up the thing to make it shiny. Yeah. And just like when I'm in the kitchen, he said, Dad, I'm not taking that out because you forgot to put the sauce on. Yeah. And I go, oh, yeah, thank you, George. Whew,
so he's not afraid to say...
Nothing leaves the kitchen without everyone's approval. Nothing.
No one's afraid to say anything because it's Dad and we don't want to upset Dad. And, you know, you're not saying something...
You must be joking. Yeah. No, that's not true. I think I rule the roost and, you know, and then everyone goes, yes, 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 and nobody pays any attention at all. That's what I think.
So
And then they just go off and do what they want anyway, but they do it lovely and better than what I thought of anyway. It's always better than what I do.
So there probably is a traditional hierarchy, so they know you're the boss. There's no doubt, yeah. But at the same time,
I've got the bat.
They're not just appeasing you. It's not just, whatever. Like, they all follow what you say. They know that it all ends with you as such, the decision-making process. Like,
when I'm under pressure, mise en place, there's probably they're wise enough to know there's probably no point in arguing. So they go and do it their way anyway, and by the time I've finished and get round to having a look, it's like,
it's done and it's done right,
and it's most of the time better.
Yeah. So
fantastic people, my family are.
One thing I find incredible, and I think many do who know this, and people are going to hear about this now, is that you're the only chef in the kitchen. There's not you and 3 other people. It's just you. Give us one of the many challenges that you must face. Or how have you overcome that?
I think, as I said before, it sounds a bit nutty, but when you... we've either got 20 covers at 7 o'clock or 20 covers at 7:30. It's not done like that. It's just... It happens like that. The natural order of things. People like to come here between those times. And at first, when I first started, I was doing 36 covers and stuff on my jack. And it was all right. It's good. It's good, And now I'm getting better. I'm getting better at cooking. So I almost leave myself. I do it. I kind of levitate, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it, but I'm doing it. It's like I said about the Miles Davis thing. I'm cooking, but I'm not cooking. I'm cooking, but I'm not cooking.
Yeah.
I'm cooking from another place. That's why I say it's like cooking heaven on earth. It's like I'm really doing what I want to do, what I really like. It's no joke here, I'm really cooking what I want to cook. So therefore, the only challenge is if for some reason you don't click into that place. 98% of the week I'm clicked into that place, but if someone comes in here and they want to fight, it could be a bit of a distraction. Yeah.
Well, and talking about that for a little bit, actually, I mentioned to you when we met a few weeks ago that that this area reminds me very much of a place where my dad opened a fish and chip shop in, and it's very well-to-do.
Okay.
People are quite posh. You can tell by the houses, like you can tell by the cars and.
Nice chimney pots.
Exactly. and you sort of mentioned that they didn't want this to be a restaurant, and some people didn't, and some people probably don't support it. And so, how do you cultivate regulars at that level? Like how do they come from further afield, or?
As I said about the Michelin guide, it's definitely down to destination now.
Yeah.
The villagers are very, very welcome to drink in here. Mm-hmm. The chimney pots that they're under are very expensive, and I would argue it offers a new kind of consciousness that people don't want anymore. People don't want to sit in the bar and drink 10 pints, have a packet of crisps. Those days are gone, They work in London all week. They come here for a meal.
Yeah.
And they're happy to have a couple of bottles of wine and 3 nice courses, or sometimes they choose my Joisie and they have 5 or 6 courses with a couple of bottles of wine. Things have changed, like in Fargo, the movie. I always hear that in my head. Things have changed, Jerry. Blood has been shed. And it's definitely like that for pubs. You know what I mean? Anyone saying they're semi-rural pub and the bar is packed, maybe they've got a little posse of 3 or 4 diehards, and we have those, and they're very welcome, and I love them, and I love hearing about their lives and everything. I love it. But we also have in the dining room the gamekeeper, who you just heard earlier. Mm-hmm. We have
everyone heard him earlier.
We have poachers sit next to the gamekeeper and they growl at each other. We got the vicar. We have really big businessmen. And then we have really lovely old couples and families, all regulars. And they add up to the regulars, probably about 25 solid ones over 7 years, I think.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to grow that by just genuinely offering sincere and warm service every single day. You know?
That's what you've got to do, I suppose.
That's it. You have to thread that through the whole of the crown. It's got to be immaculate. It's got to represent us, and it does represent me. It's a total reflection of me.
Yeah.
So you either like me or you don't. You're very welcome here, and you can have a lovely clean pint of beer, or you can have a nice plate of food.
Yeah.
But people don't do that 7 nights a week anymore, drinking, and people don't drink in the daytime. So rather than be all things to all people and crash and burn, I stick to one line, one thread of hospitality, and that is a wedge of a very small pie to feed the family.
Yeah, and you've essentially become niche.
We are niche.
You've just become very. This is our cuisine. This is what we do. This is our open hours.
Someone was saying to me the other day, pubs in London have got stalls in them now. These big pubs, so they've got a little fry as you like stall, a German sausage man, all in one roof. Stalls, food stalls.
Okay.
In the pub. I said, what's happening to all the people that are fighting for pubs like this, just to keep the pub open? Just one original idea inside a pub. One successful idea. Just be yourself, be you, deliver you.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. We're delivering us.
Yeah. We're delivering you.
Yeah.
So if we move to the wider industry, and here obviously, but so if we look at dietary requirements, how do you
very important.
So how do you sort of try and make that fit into your day-to-day, especially with being the only man in the kitchen?
Yeah, well, we've got no technology here. We've still got an old-fashioned phone. There's no technology. It costs. Every system has a costing, doesn't it? So if you're a one-man band and you're small, best stay small.
Yeah.
Small
Play to your
is
strengths.
powerful. Small is big, man. Small is tough. Solid.
Because I did notice this on your website. You don't have any online booking.
No. It's all time and motion.
Yeah.
You're going to get tied up in that. I'm not going to be cooking, am I? So what we do is you ring me up on a dog and bone, and I say, well, I don't say anything. They don't let me answer the phone anymore. But I used to answer the phone. On rare occasions, if you answer the phone, I have to remember to say, are there any dietary requirements? Can we go through those requirements, please, so that we can be be everything to you?
I can imagine you going through that script, so it's best that you don't answer the phone, really.
Yeah, it doesn't go like that. And so they do it, and they do it beautifully. And we, people arrive, and they do have forgotten to tell us. But I'm not going to moan about them. I'm not going to go social media and start moaning about people who criticise us on media platforms and stuff like that, because this industry has never been any different. It's always been like this. I can remember starting out and hearing Mr. Roller going, they haven't shown up. Oh, his wife was called Jane. He'd go, Jane, they haven't shown up. I got this on, I got that on. And she'd go, have a glass of wine, and that was that. That wasn't in the social media the next day that Table of Seven those showed up at the Bridge Hotel, That's 35 years ago. So I don't moan about it because it's negative. I don't fuel my ego with negativity. There's no need. I'm just going to I'll just become a loony, a monster again. That's no point in that.
Yeah.
I've got to stay completely neutral from all that. It's acceptance of that. I don't moan about it. It's very unattractive. I don't find it.
Because obviously you would see, I don't know if you follow other restaurants on Twitter, so you would see some
we do
of that.
Twitter, but we don't pay. I'm not saying we pay really good attention, to be honest.
No, but I'm saying you would see where other restaurants would be really upset about a no-show.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've got to flick on. I've got to move on quick. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't press mute or block, but I do. I don't look at that stuff.
Yeah, because again,
I don't read it.
So, in your opinion, that's just been around for a long time.
It's never thus. It's never been any different.
Yeah.
It's always been no shows. There's always been people booking 5 restaurants on a Saturday night to go to one they want to do.
Especially years ago when there was less restaurants and they were harder to get into, I suppose.
I don't go for moaning about that. It's the way it is. And even if I do get upset about it, I just don't go on about it.
Yeah,
we don't
absorb it.
As a family, we look at the cost lost, and we between us, we think, wow, okay, it's bad manners.
Yeah.
But it was never not like this. It's always been like this. And we, and to some degree, we're, if we don't take bookings, which we don't, that's our decision. So therefore, I don't want to take deposits. It's a cost.
Yeah.
Because people are going to want me to dispose of their details correctly, and that's a cost.
Yeah.
So I don't take their details. So
if I was to ring up and say I want a table for 2.
Yeah. All right. When you come in.
Yeah, that's it.
Can you eat everything?
Yeah, I can.
You've got no nut problems?
No.
All right, then we're going to get on. It's great.
I'm nutty. Yeah, and that's it. And then if I didn't turn up, you just think, what a dickhead, and then move on. You don't dwell on it though. Like,
no, I don't even think, what a dickhead. I think, I hope you're all right.
Yeah, fair enough.
I hope nothing.
Yeah.
And I hope nothing happens to you. I hope you're all right. I hope you're okay.
That's a fair point.
Gosh,
most people would hope I'm okay generally. So.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. But no, but I think like that. We think like that.
Yeah.
We think, gosh, I wonder.
But I suppose in some ways you have got a different setup here. So you are,
yeah,
and I think, where others have probably got a bit more outlaid. I'm not saying you haven't, but I think, I think it's just different, isn't it? I suppose in the social media is a powerful thing. People feel like they want to vent there, don't they? And I get that too. Like, you want to let off some steam sometimes to peers, Mm-hmm. You want to tell your friends,
Yeah, I mean, our point of difference is that we are different.
Yeah.
We are doing something that's really quite old-fashioned and traditional. And I think it's a wonderful place to be.
Yeah.
We're considering all kinds of modern dietary requirements. Yeah, I'm there. Don't make a big deal of it.
Yeah, and as long as you can plan it, can't you?
Yeah, just stop the notice me thing. I don't really like the notice me. No, not me. I mean, people. What's this with the notice me? I've got gluten-free. I've got to be gluten-free. I've got to be... All right.
Yeah, just give us some notice. Yeah.
Tell me it quietly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do the notice me thing.
Yeah. The whole me.
Yeah, because then that does drag me out the kitchen.
Yeah, that makes you more peed off actually. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I like honesty. I like it rich and I like it real. And I'd much prefer a fight in the car park than you go behind my back and tell me. Yeah, no, I would. Even if you're 6 foot tall, I'm happy with that. Yeah. I'm let's do it one-on-one, mano.
It's sort of, you just want.
I don't really rate the going around the houses thing.
Yeah,
I think it's disappointing. So if you never got value for money or you never got A, B, C, and D, you just tell me.
Yeah, so like these people that just run off the TripAdvisor or whatever it is, you're just like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even say that Green site because it can't separate the truth from its lies.
Yeah.
Good or bad reviews. It can't separate the truth from its lies. And anyone with a brain knows it's just nonsense, good or bad.
Yeah.
I'm happy with criticism. I don't mind it. I'm not going to get better, not going to improve, not going to evolve, not going to, succeed if I don't listen to my customers. I do. But don't do it behind my back.
Yeah, just be a gent, be a lady, and just
take me to one side and say, "Oh, Si, you know what? I didn't think that was great."
Yeah.
And I'll go, "Why is that?" And then we'll have a deep chat
and then
about
you can
it,
figure
and
out
I'll change your mind.
Yeah. Well, then you can
not really. I'm only
but then you can figure out if it was their expectation.
Exactly.
Because that's another thing, isn't it? If you've got lots of people saying how great this restaurant is,
yeah,
and then you've always got someone that's like, "Wow, it's going to be amazing," or
it's also
I wonder if
isn't it?
I wonder if it's good enough for me. Like,
yeah.
But yeah.
So I don't dwell on stuff that's negative. I don't moan on. I don't fuel that part of my ego anymore. I don't want that in. I'm energising something. That's one way to start de-energising what I'm doing.
I suppose it's good to focus on the good vibes. It gives customers a reason to sort of like,
Yeah. Well, no, not too much because you get a big head, but you got to focus on what you're doing.
I think more so. How do I explain that? Like, for example, if I see, and I say this sometimes. There was someone reshared it on Twitter the other day, and it was like had 8 no-shows tonight or 8 cancelled or whatever it was, one of the two. And they're like, that's 8 tables, and you think, whoa. Like,
that's our dining room. We got 9.
Yeah, well, so you think straight away, like,
that's a restaurant no-show.
And I remember talking to a restaurateur about it the other day, and he goes, I'd worry then if it was my fault or the customer's fault. Is the customer being rude, or am I doing something wrong as a restaurateur? And I think then if you're then tweeting that and other people are retweeting that, what do consumers see? What do your potential customer base say when they think, 8 people didn't go there? Wonder why?
I don't know. I just wonder what you're feeding.
Yeah.
When you get embroiled in all that.
Sort of like negativity breeds negativity sort of thing.
I'm energising something positive, and I want to continue to be exciting and positive.
Yeah.
And we do that by not moaning. We get up for work, we pull our socks on, and we get going.
Yeah.
And the day we don't want to do that, we'll jack it in.
Yeah.
We won't give notice.
No.
I won't give notice. I'll just shut the door.
Yeah, be a landlord.
If I don't feel like it, I won't do it.
No, you can tell it's a labour of love, isn't it?
I hope so.
So,
I hope so.
Moving on to slightly more wider things.
Please say that again.
What did I say?
It's a labour of love.
It's a labour of love.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, you love the way I say it? Or
I just love to hear that. It's a labour of love. Because it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So, you recently had a bit of a refit, you were saying, and then we talked about the hidden costs as such. Yeah. So you have an extension, and most of that extension is probably used on a hallway.
Yes.
And 2 toilets. Is it 2 toilets?
1, yes, 3.
Yeah, all right.
3 loos.
3 loos, yeah. They're lovely loos, by the way. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I've not defiled one, but I did see how lovely they are, you know.
Well, you're welcome. It's got proper soap and proper hand cream in there and genuine hand towels.
Ooh, how delightful.
Worth a visit.
I'll leave my 2p. But, you know, then we'll talk about the lovely flowers on tables. And you were saying, like, how much these all cost your business, but you wouldn't be without them. So give us a little bit about that.
You're not going to see a fixed return. You're not going to see a number for those. All you're going to see is the cost going out. You know, when we did the loos, there was not going to be a return on the loos. We couldn't say, well, if we get 3 nice new loos, we're going to achieve this much profit on them each year. So they are part of the package. The flowers are part of the package. The experience of the little crown, our little crown, my little crown. All those little costs are hidden costs, which we pass on in an honest and fair way, a firm and fair way, because you've got to pass them on.
Yeah, of course.
Because obviously you're in business, and that means, you know, staying in business. So.
And you said earlier as we were preparing that you felt that, you know, that's all part of building the experience. You know, the flowers, the nice toilet. Well, toilet's just toilet, isn't it? But the flowers, and you know.
But we love flowers. So they're again, that's an extension of our likes. So the artworks in here are, I call them artworks. They're my paintings. I painted these.
Oh wow! Where'd you find the time?
I don't know.
You really painted these?
Yeah, look, there's my name on them. I've done them. I promise.
All right. I just thought it was an imposter. I didn't know you.
No, yeah, and I mean, we never had no money to put stuff up on the walls, so I better paint some stuff.
I know, but that just shows how eccentric you are, mate. Like, I'm not being funny. Yeah, I'm not loaded. But you don't see me getting my crayons out. These are amazing.
They're all right.
They're all right. Yeah.
I didn't cost much. A bit of oil. Well,
they look awesome, mate.
Well, that's nice. Yeah.
Especially that one. No one can see that.
That carrot?
Yeah, the carrot. There's a lot of texture on that.
Yeah. It's all pulled paint. Yeah, it's all oil. It's like cooking. When I'm cooking, I feel like I'm cooking in oil. It's really hard to work with.
Yeah.
Oil. To move about and get definable edges and things. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm not a very good painter, but I needed something for the walls, so... do the job.
Well, look, I'm no.
So anyway,
I'm no art collector.
All these little things really are an extension of our, mainly my overriding personality, and so it's very personal place, a very personal space, full of likes.
It's a nice thing to see in today's world where everything has become very samey and homogenised, and
the identikit pub.
Even if people don't like this, At least
I'm
it's
sure
unique.
they don't.
Well, at least it's unique, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a uniqueness about the place.
Yeah.
But I've actually lost track of where I was.
It's all right.
Yeah.
So I must be getting boring. We must
No,
finish
not
up.
at all. I lost track because we just took a sidetrack. But I think we were talking about like
Filling things up with filling
Yeah.
the space up with the warm details that are really part of the personality that cost money.
exactly.
And you've got to separate that money. You've got to say, when do I stop giving to my space?
But I do think
And you do have to do that.
yeah, of course. But I do think also customers that enjoy the setting, that enjoy the ambience, they enjoy it because of these things. And if they didn't exist, so you didn't put nice flowers out, or you didn't have nice baskets outside, or there was, I don't know, a crappy looking car park, people are going to say, oh, it's not as nice as it used to be. It all adds up, doesn't it? It's all those, I don't know.
When we got the loo done, it was because they were semi-attached to the building.
Okay.
And the drains were sunken, they'd fallen.
Yeah.
This pub is 1817, so some of those drains, the networks, once we got really busy with the Michelin star, it really was a problem because it was busy, the place was busy, so all the operations that go along with a busy place were filling up quite quickly. So they had to be done, and it was a necessity for them to be done. And when people are coming here, they expect it to be nice, not like it was before. A while before they were spotless and clean, they were broken and falling apart.
Yeah.
And whoever was going to come in here one day would have to address his loos.
Yeah.
And I had to take the brunt for that, for the crown. I took one for the crown.
So,
I've taken many for the crown.
So what would you say, and I don't know if we touched on
Not
this.
literally.
So what would you say your favourite and worst or hated ingredient is?
No, I can never say I hate any ingredient. It's too strong a word. And
Dislike.
yeah, no, I can't dislike any ingredient because all the other ingredients will hear me. Honestly, if I say I'm not even going to say it, but if I said I don't like you telephone,
Yeah.
another telephone would hear that, wouldn't it? And think, why do you like that telephone? So I don't do that because it might not react properly when I want to go to work with it.
I get that.
I don't.
So what's your favourite ingredient then?
I absolutely. It's difficult because I love absolutely everything.
Is there a season that you like more than
autumn?
The other?
Autumn and winter. I feel 100% at home. I like spring.
Is that because you can make more hearty foods?
Definitely, but also I leaves. Across the road you can see that huge oak tree.
Yeah.
It's massive. It's 1923 it was planted.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one there before that.
Oh, okay.
A few hundred years. So there's always been an oak tree there. When those leaves fall off that tree in September, October, the place is covered.
Yeah.
It's brown. It's a lovely, crisp, burnt orange.
Feels autumnal.
It's very romantic. It's a very romantic place. And it gives me a notion of real connection with the autumn. Those leaves, that burnt orange, that rusty colour.
Yeah.
I love it. And so I don't dislike any ingredients. What I do have a problem with, which is you can put too much almond essence in your marzipan. Something my uncles or my nan might have done. Yeah. Bless her. Marzipan that's a little bit too strident. I love marzipan.
I'm not a fan of that flavour. I don't know.
Oh, aren't you?
Yeah.
No, I love marzipan, but maybe marzipan that's a bit commercial, something like that. I find that too strident and very off-putting. Yeah. But everything else, I love it.
I'm not a dessert person.
Oh, you're not?
I don't know if I told you.
Do you like cheese?
I'd love cheese.
Yeah. I knew you liked cheese.
Hey, you're looking at my belly.
do you love French cheese?
I love all cheese.
You
I
love
think.
all cheese.
Yeah, I don't think I found one that has put me off yet. But yeah, I don't know.
Do you like soft cheese or hard cheese?
Both. I'm happy with both. I just don't like sweet things. I've really probably got. Maybe it's gonna.
So you wouldn't have a sweet thing with your cheese then, Stelios?
No, I just like cheese. I think
biscuits or bread.
None. I've
on its own, purist.
I don't know. I just think I've.
No butter. No butter with the.
I love butter.
Butter.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, and if I love butter, and I try generally to be quite low carb, because I don't do any exercise, and being in fish and chips, I eat fish and chips every now and then now, because I don't want to be too much. But So I try to limit the carbs a bit. But if I've got great butter, well, you need great bread, because otherwise you need to make those two work.
What about butter on hot chips?
I've never had that.
Do you want to try cold butter on a really hot chip? It's like, what?
Are you being serious?
I'm stratospheric, mate. It's one of the most ultimate things you can...
As in chips?
Cold butter, thinly sliced, on a
Yeah.
really hot, crispy chip with sea salt is like... Ooh,
Right.
artery clogging.
Yeah, of course.
Essential.
Yeah. I'm going to try that.
There's one way to go.
Yeah, I'm going to try that.
No, you'll like that.
Yeah. Oh, my
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
It's got to be chilled, though, so the hot and cold is
Yeah, it
sublime.
works together, yeah.
So you think, ooh, like that, as you're munching it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that now. You can see how that would work.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
We always had, as children, beetroot sandwiches.
Yeah.
And the beetroot was warm after it had been boiled and then brushed with vinegar. It wasn't brushed with vinegar like I would do today. It was chucked in vinegar,
Yeah.
shaken up, and you had loads of vinegar on your bread, and it used to give you heartburn.
Yeah.
And it would still today. But we also had hot chip butties, which everybody's had in their lives.
Yeah.
And that butter, nice and thick, on quite sort of nicely made tin loaf,
Nice.
thickly spread but cold. Bread gone in the
Yeah.
fridge for a bit. Put the hot sandwiches in.
Yeah, you can see how that works.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Private one. It's one to do alone.
yeah, but I think many people listening to this are probably going to all try this now.
Eat it quietly, naughtily,
I can't stand noisy eaters anyway.
when you jam. So you love cheese, yeah.
So yeah, cheese is probably like, yeah. But I just try and like, if I have a steak, I try and have like salad or chips. Salad or like a fried egg with it or something. I don't really have chips with it no more. Like just, yeah. But I do love chips. I think chips and nice bread is my...
We don't serve chips here, though.
Yeah.
It stinks the dining room out. It
Yeah, I can
stinks the
imagine,
pub
actually.
out.
Yeah.
So I've got an extractor fan, but it's like Concorde. It would suck me up into
Well,
it.
I heard it when you put it on.
Yeah, it's basically, yeah, it's too big for
Yeah.
the space. And
That's why your hair is like that.
yeah. It's immaculate. It's immaculate. And
Yeah.
I love it. I love my extractor fan.
So
I love the
Does it
fabrication.
act like a Hoover, do you think?
Oh yeah, it's definitely, and it brings everybody's perfume in to the kitchen
Oh, really?
on a Saturday night, and I know who's wearing what.
Well, at least
I love nice smells.
it's that way around and not the dining room smelling. Because I've been to some restaurants before and you leave smelling of the dining room, or of the kitchen anyway. Especially some seafood restaurants. You know, it's a bit...
I mean, I love chips. I'm just not doing them here.
No, exactly. You can eat chips everywhere else.
We
Stick to what you know.
Yeah.
It's true, isn't it? Like, well, it can't be everything to everyone.
Well, yeah.
You know. So, what would you say is your favourite restaurant anywhere? Where would you want to eat?
Well, it's not there anymore.
Okay.
I've had some great. Obviously, I've eaten in some great places all the time because of my interest.
Yeah.
But I don't go out as much as I used to because I really see it today as an investment. If I'm investing in something, we go and we look at it and we totally submerge ourselves into it and we totally enjoy it for what it is. And it's usually something that's, a little bit posh. So it's a big conscious thing for me to go these days. But I once went to Calais on day trips when I was working for a really nice employer ages ago. And I used to go to, it was called Le Chanel in Calais. And it was great. That was great. And my top meals are ones cooked by Warren Geraghty at the Picasso Room in Lascargo.
Mm-hmm.
But better than Warren's was the Marco Pierre White experience, Hyde Park restaurant, and then the Oak Room. The Oak Room, just levels and depths of unctuousness that you don't see anymore reached. Real flavour, and then at the time, just great meals, really great experiences all round, really. And his personality thread through it all, a little piece of black pudding with some mashed potatoes to kick things off was French black pudding So just loaded with
It's
blood.
like boudin noir, really fatty, really creamy.
So as soon as you pushed your fork into it, it splurted all over the mash. And
I love
because
that.
he was a Yorkshireman, there was a nod to black pudding, but it was done in a French, and everything had a nod to Yorkshire. And that's what I felt.
You see it in my face. I love that now. Like when they said black pudding, like
And then I did classic Marco, the leeks, the terrine of leek and langoustine, the trotter. The tiny cannelé, not the cannelé, what is creme caramel with the little raisins on top, and the lemon tart with the little souffle on the side in the lemon skin, and then the tray of petit fours, like 10 different chocolates and all that back in 90. This is 97, 98, and a little half bottle of Chateau Liana, nice Bordeaux. Just great memories of both those meals, eating those meals. So things I can't forget, because I've eaten a lot of great places, but I just can't shake that one out of my mind. I can't push it away.
And
it just comes back every time.
And let's say you're at home, it's a day off, night off, whatever. You want something indulgent or whatever. What's your go-to food? What's your... Deborah
and I make toast together.
Yeah. It takes two people to make toast in your house.
Well... Yeah, because toast is technical. It's got to be hot and crunchy.
Yeah.
If you haven't got the butter at the right temperature,
yeah,
nothing's going to be right. If things aren't right, if you're called away, you've got to get it your undivided attention.
Okay. If
you get called away, or the phone rings, or one of the family rocks up at the back door, that's always nice. But I'm doing toast.
How have you managed never to get called away from something in a house that's had 9 kids in it?
You've got to choose your moment.
Oh, okay.
You've got to choose. So, because it needs to be around about 12:30, 1:45 in the morning. Oh, God. And you've got to go about...
That was your
toast.
window.
That's the window of opportunity. You've got to go about your toast then. Yeah.
You see, I said to the wife, I went, after I met you last week, I said, I think this guy's my hero. And she goes, why? And I said, because he's still sane-ish. And he's had 9 kids, him and his wife, and he seems really chill. Because we struggle with 2. Maybe there's this thing after 5 they start looking after each other.
As I said to you before, we don't think about it. It's just been,
Yeah, it is the way it went.
Met very young, and I'm grateful and thankful for everything in my life.
Yeah, and look where it's brought you. You're sitting here with me.
Yeah.
So where would you say your favourite holiday places are?
Every holiday I've ever been in is the best holiday in the world.
Okay.
I love Gozo in Malta. And I love Saint-Tropez, but it's a bit pricey. Yeah. But I love Saint-Tropez, and I love Port Grimont. And I love Devon. There's a special place.
Whereabouts in Devon?
I can't tell you. No, it's called Putsborough. Okay. It's called Putsborough Sands. And it's just a very, very special little place. Yeah. Yeah, it's a special place.
And I usually ask everybody this, and it's, what book would you recommend somebody should get?
The Constance Spry cookery book.
I've ordered that.
Have you? Yeah. It's the ultimate book for practical domestic cooking and flour.
And is it your go-to book, is it?
Yeah, there's flour arranging in there. Rosemary Hume's part of that book back, and it's got everything in it you need to know, and it's a clear way. She was the old Delia in my brain. I love Delia Smith too, but I love Constance Spry. Yeah, that's who that's what a lot of my recipes and Delia Smith recipes are underpinned by them. Yeah. Well, Simon, I'd like to say Stelios, thank you very much for your time. Thank you. It's been great. I've had a right laugh. Thank you for your interest in us. No, I love it. It's great. A right laugh. And family and I are really, really pleased you took an interest in us. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for doing it. Thank you. Bye. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed episode 22 of the Sarah's Podcast with Simon Bonwick. I'm sure you'll all agree he was a proper interesting guy and not afraid to be honest and upfront. He really does put some effort into what he does. Be sure to subscribe to the Sarah's Podcast to make sure you get automatic updates and downloads. That way you don't have to keep clicking on the link and so on and so on. The next episode 23, is with the chaps from the boat in Lichfield, and we had a right laugh, and hopefully that'll be out in another week's time. So let us know what you think.